Welcome to Gain Business. Today we have a special guest. She's the creator of a program called, um, let me see this. She's the creator of the program called Ecosystem of Knowledge that Drives Growth and Ignites Transformation and Change. So today, the young lady is joining us to give us a little bit more information about the program and also the good work she's been doing all of this time, working with churches, with young people all across the world. Uh, that young lady is one and only Miss Sherida Morrison. Welcome to
Thank
the
you,
show,
thank you, thank
and
you.
I'm happy to have you tonight. You are a very busy young lady, and for
Mhm.
you to take some time on a Sunday like today to stop by our studio, it means a lot to me. So I want to welcome you first, and how you been doing?
Thank you so much. I've been doing well. I've been doing well amidst this global crisis, and all of the change that we've been experiencing in the world. It's something I specialize in. So, just thinking about the idea that we're uh, changing and transitioning. I've been doing well.
There's some difficulties with the sounds on your side. I think your microphone, if you can double check on that, because it's very fuzzy. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to double check on that. I think it's a problem with the microphone. Uh,
Testing. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. It's just a little fuzzy. Yeah. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can hear you a little better.
A little technical difficulties. You
Yeah.
shouldn't spoil a thing.
It's live show, so everything is possible.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a
Yeah.
live show. Yeah. Can
It's
you hear me now? Is that better?
I can hear you. It's just that there's like a background noise, extremely fuzzy.
Got it.
Yeah. Every time you talk, I don't know if you're close to another source of like maybe a radio, or you have two microphone or
Mm,
transactions. Can you maybe turn off uh, one of your machine that you maybe a phone or a radio or something else that
yeah,
is
I
connected at the same
totally
time?
just moved the cell phone out of the way.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So
and
why don't you just maybe log out and then come back again? Yes. It's a little difficulties and technical difficulties. As you know, live shows are extremely difficult. Usually everything can happen. So bear with us. As I was trying to introduce Miss uh, Sherida Morrison. She is the creator of the ecosystem of knowledge that drives growth and ignite transformation change. It's a lot of information she uh, is going to give to us today. She's a coach, um, and also a, a teacher. By teacher, but I mean somebody who actually train a variety of institution around the world. So she is trying to get back on the show. She'll be back in a minute. It's the, I think it's a technical problem with us.
how's
Here we go.
this?
Okay, fantastic. I can hear you sharp
Okay.
and clear.
All
Yes.
right. So
Yeah, like
that's
yeah, it happened, and as I know you are, you probably already put this in the hands of God, and
eh.
with the with the blood of Jesus,
Yes.
everything is fantastic. Everything gonna be just fine.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, so For everyone, I guess, who's just catching us, again, as I've been kindly introduced, I'm just excited to be here. I'm thankful. And what we just experienced was change, right? So the
Yeah.
first
Uh,
question you asked me was, how are you and how have things been? I talked about the global pandemic and boom, the sound went out. And that's the work that I do. I'm the founder of the Igniters Institute, where we cultivate and create systems of change through ecosystems of learning to help strategic thinkers and strategic leaders grow and develop. And ultimately, what we end up doing is supporting them in times where they have to pivot. So, just when you asked me, I was using my Yeti mic. It didn't work, and we had to do a quick pivot. And that's ultimately the work that I do to support leaders throughout this nation and around the globe. So, it's light work, I guess we could say.
no, I mean, you're trying to be humble. That's not lightweight. That's a lot of work that you're doing because whoever knows you, uh, go through your resume and the work you've been doing, whether you're talking about churches or with youth. It's an extensive body of work, and we're here today. The reason why you were invited on the show in the first place is just to break down, and also that people will never have a chance to be in your presence because I've been in your presence and I know the power that you can deliver. You are a force for good. The power that you can deliver through your knowledge and also the training that you operate around the country and possibly around the world. My first question to you is, what made you create that program? I'm talking about the inspiration. What inspired you to get into this
Yes.
transformation work?
Sure. So I have spent about 20 years of my work providing services to youth and families in the nonprofit and education and government sector. Um, One of the things that I had experienced after working with youth, young adults, and then the families were we were preparing families to get out into the world and do dynamic things. People who were what we consider to be the underdog. I worked really hard to support those individuals to become, to find themselves in a space of actualizing where they want to be, what they'd like to do, gaining the skills in workforce for what they'd like to see. And what I saw happen was a lot of them were going to work and experiencing really bad leadership. They were experiencing bosses and executives and those who were middle managers who were engaging them in a manner that was not fruitful for edifying who they were, for their continued success, and more importantly, for the continued success of the organization. I considered going back to school to get my MBA. And then I said, let me do some more research. And I found myself in Washington, D.C. at American University, taking up my master's in organization development. And I learned about this beautiful world of change. And as many of us know, change exists. It's inevitable and it's constant. So working with individuals to figure out how to merge together those soft elements of who we are as people alongside of those very tangible and tactile things we experience in business. So I found my way in this particular area of business out of seeing a need to help and support people who really needed a leg up and a lift up. And I found that despite your social and economic circumstance, everyone needs that kind of support.
Yeah, tell me about it. Everybody, including myself. Why do you think I brought it on? This is not just for the viewer. It's for myself as well. We all need some work. Some improvement. And
Absolutely.
every day is a learning experience.
Mhm.
I just throw myself into this broadcasting work. And it's very uncomfortable, but guess what, it's also fun because you learn new stuff and you just have to embrace the limitations and all kind of stuff in that learning process. um,
Absolutely.
so far, what kind of organization you've been working with?
So I've done some work with some nonprofits and local governments. I've done some projects for our local government, Anne Arundel County. Anne Arundel County school systems. I've worked with in practice the European Space Agency, PEPCO Holdings, some local universities, and my favorite, I've been working with churches. And it's been my favorite. I love God, and I know that Malik mentioned that when we first got on. But it's been my favorite because the world has, the Jack Canfields and the John Maxwells, and I really feel like as I've come into understanding who I am, I can kind of touch the believer. And actually, I have a woman that I met, my really great girlfriend, took me to a conference for a young lady named LaShawn Holland. She took me to a conference, and this was the host. And I never met a believer who was very wealthy. Unfortunately, I'd encountered in many instances people who were believers but had not broken that or I want to say seven figure, I should say, not six figure, but seven figure mark. Um, and when I met this woman, I saw not only her zeal for God, but I saw her zeal for making change in communities so that God's people were financially well off. So I say for the churches, but also for the faith-based believer. I just kind of found myself in a space of just really loving not only the work that I do in government, nonprofit, and education systems, but also churches being nonprofits, finding myself in that space and really just loving that niche.
Absolutely. But you know, you're as I said at the beginning of this program, you're the founder of Igniters
Yes. Mhm.
Institute. Can you talk a little bit about that? What is this all about?
Yes, so I founded Igniters Institute in 2016. Like many entrepreneurs, my thoughts for what I was going to do with the organization was completely vast. I had an idea that I'm going to dabble in some consulting work and do a little bit of training and coaching, but I really found myself in the space of personal and professional development. Thus, we do and create ecosystems of learning and change to help that strategic leader grow and transform themselves, their team, and or their organization. I've found that a lot of times organizations, people, and teams really need help either becoming unstuck, figuring out ways to get teams to be more cohesive in the way that they're engaging one another, and also in finding, I found that organizations sometimes need the same support in becoming unstuck when they're doing acquisitions and mergers, looking to make significant change, like adding new information technology components into the organization, and really getting people's minds around the idea that this significant shift requires a people shift because people are assets too. And that's my area of work is the people.
Absolutely. You know, speaking about the people, it is amazing to see how a bunch of black women are taking action and trying to bring something to the marketplace.
Yes.
I know what been doing, fantastic work. There's other ladies. As a matter of fact, there's one actually that is asking the question, whether she can get your information. And she's doing a fantastic job with bringing to the marketplace. I mean, food that is good for our body, and she was
Okay.
working right now on her appearance on the show. Actually, we've been talking, and she should be on the show pretty soon, and to give
Okay.
us, she brings so interesting stuff. So she was asking if she can get your information, you see on the screen. I
Oh,
hope
absolutely.
you can just later on or even now tell her if she can get this information straight from you. Um,
Yes,
I s-
absolutely. And
so
if if it's easy, I'll just type it here
yeah,
and share it with you as well.
all right. Hey, Lynn, hello to you. So people, I just want to remind people, this is it's okay. You can go ahead and ask your question. I know our guest doesn't mind. She doesn't mind.
No, I don't.
You don't mind people asking questions directly. It would be fantastic to learn more, have information. As a matter of fact, you're going to be sharing your information with people, because what part of the reason why you here is because you want to extend your knowledge and the training that you've been doing working. You were just talking about your foundation.
Mhm.
I call it a foundation. I don't know the institute that
Yes.
you created,
Mhm.
but you also were the manager of youth services in
Yes.
Baltimore County. And then
Yes.
what kind of work you were doing with people with those young people in Baltimore?
So it's again all around change. I had the pleasure for many, many years of being in direct touch with youth and families. And one day I said, there has to be more that I can do. So I transitioned that work and said, I want to do some stuff and work in policy or something of that capacity. So in 2014, the Obama administration passed what we call the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And I was brought on board with a local government to help with this act that Congress enacted to help shift what they were doing in this local area so that we can figure out new and improved ways to support our youth in this local government. So it was a really interesting experience. Dealing with lots of change, uncertainties, but definitely a learning experience. And we were able to stand up quite a large program in the county. We have, I want to say, for the population we were serving, nearly 15,000 young people. And we had a really great time putting together a program in a really short window of time to support these young adults. So we supported them with employment opportunities, leadership development skills, summer employment, entrepreneurship training. They received supportive services. So things like help with transportation and a number of things. And a lot of our young adults during that time were struggling, with things like being single parents and, dealing with a past criminal record or homelessness. So and also some of our young people were dropouts. They had dropped out of school. So I would absolutely, I absolutely enjoyed that particular body of work. And that's what I did there. Primarily, my job was putting in place local policies, writing and structuring the organization, helping to kind of keep things coordinated for all of those in that area who were experiencing that change as well.
You know, as I told you before, folks are watching for this program, and they want to know, they want to ask those questions. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to ask your question.
Yes.
If our guest, Ms. Sherida, is not capable answering those questions right now, I think there will be a follow up with you. And
Yes.
one of the questions about from Innocent was how running for office will help make transformation change happen. I think that's a little bit of political question. I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you
Oh,
try,
yeah.
trying to give an answer to that, but I know that's not completely your area. Just
No,
so,
no,
yeah,
it's interesting because I know that's your area. I was ready. So,
yeah,
so I assume there'd be some questions about politics.
yeah,
One of the things, Innocent, I would share is transformational change. Change happens anyway, right? So you get a new person in office, it's happening. When I think of transformational change, it's ultimately that very significant shift in the way that we experience the change in the community. So when I think about politics, without naming any particular party or any person, but I think about for me to create transformational change, the politician would really have to understand the people's desires, what individuals are really seeking. Typically, the seeking is around social and economic constructs. So, how are we doing in the economy? What kinds of jobs are being brought in? What does business look like for us? How will we make money? What does education look like for our families? And ultimately, a transformational shift happens where let's keep it local. I'm a mayor. I come into your community, and you have four very desolate schools in that community. The community's been crying out for 10 years to have the schools revitalized and have some students be able to take form and take shape in those particular areas. That transformational change would help to beautify possibly the community, get quality educators in those schools, and get individuals in a space where those schools can be reopened and adequately used in those communities. So that's one example of what I believe when we think about politics, what transformational change is. I think what happens when we don't see transformational change is two things, and I'm going to stay off of politics, but two very specific things. Having had some experience in government, it's very difficult to make big shifts without including all of the smaller components. So
Yeah.
you might see one person in office for 4 years, and as a citizen, expect to see very dynamic shifts. But in order to see those shifts, it takes a lot of work, a lot of pulling in a number of entities, getting a lot of buy-in, a lot of understanding for what the community wants, and then figuring out, once we make up the idea, we put policies in place, we sign bills, now we have to actualize it and put it in place. And that's then another step in the change process. So sometimes we don't get the opportunity to see what happened in that boardroom or in that office or what was signed, because then that individual's term sometimes is over with. I'll say at least that was my experience when Congress passed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We got it, and what the community saw was us actualizing some things. But what I saw behind the scenes was that the state sometimes didn't have policies as readily available as the federal government did, and we had to wait. There's a lot of bureaucracy. So sometimes we don't really get to experience the fullness of transformational change from the political level because of the depth of steps, I should say, that they have to kind of
Absolutely.
go through. We see it sometimes, and sometimes we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautifully put in. Um, if you want to transfer, sometimes they've been, as a politician, they say change come from the bottom up. Usually,
Yes.
people get to the office and they get comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then change become as we entangle. I love that
Yes.
term entangle. They entangle with powerful forces, the donors, the big money, and then they forget. They forget. The reason why they were elected in the first place.
Yes.
Uh, so it takes people, regular people to have. You have to have a good ideas. You have an idea, you want to make that happen. What you do, you run
Yes.
for office. You run for
Yes.
office. You have to, never be. Don't be scared. I mean, especially in a society like ours, it's a democratic society. Go and
Absolutely.
run for office. It happened to me, as you already know. You
Mhm.
know, 12 years. I mean, more than 12 years in the field of education. In my area, I saw some stuff that was not working. I saw the police brutality. Nobody couldn't give an answer. And I
Mhm.
live in a very progressive, state. Maryland being, especially the Montgomery County, being a progressive state,
Yes.
and knowing
Hmm.
that the police brutality was still going on. And at one point, you get tired. What you do? You want to go and run for office and to an attempt to change, bring people
Attempt.
around you, and attempt to bring some change. So yeah, Innocent, your question is a good question. Transformational
Absolutely.
change usually happen from the bottom up. So anybody, when you see a problem that you think you can solve, just go and run for office, and
Yeah.
galvanize people around your campaign, people with good ideas, and challenge the status quo. And
Yes.
now, once you get in position, that's where you
It's
need
a,
people like Sherida to come in, because you
yes.
should deal with organization. That's her expertise, organization development and workforce and strategic initiatives. That's what she does. You bring her and she will train people and yourself to keep focus on the prize. You have to keep your eyes on the prize at all time because people
Mhm.
get distracted. Our political officials, what they do, they get distracted in the process. They
Yes.
come with very good ideas. People vote for them, but after a while, they are lost with these powerful forces, the special interests, and
Yes.
they get in, and before you know it, it's the people not getting what they're supposed to get. So
Yes.
that is beautiful, Sharita, and the way you continue to just work hard, and then trying to bring change to our community and people that need your help. And let also remember that you were a member of the advisory board member. You were advisory board member,
Yes.
and you did some business volunteers in Maryland. I want you to take us back to that moment, back to that time, and what was the role that you were playing.
Well, I think that one thing I want to first say to Innocent, thank you so much for that question. It was a great question. And Malik, I like when you use the word attempt. So, because there's always
Everybody,
an attempt to
yeah,
change, to make change in a particular environment. And you can always put in a system or put structures in. And usually those structures are what I like to think is almost like a test run until we really see if it actually works or not. One of the things that I've had the pleasure of doing is sitting on a number of boards, advisory committees. I've also overseen boards, youth committees, and participated in the structure of said boards. And there's not anything for the lack of better words, really sexy about it. I think sitting on boards, I've had the opportunity to give input and voice from a different perspective. Right now, we see a lot in the community about diversity. And one of the things that we always look at is diversity of color, right? Like it's the first and most obvious thing we see. But one of the more important things that I want to take into consideration is being a Black woman who comes from where I come from. I offer up a different perspective. So I've been in spaces where I was the only person of color. I was the only young person of color. And a lot of the programs that we served young people of color. So, not that I can understand the plight of every young person or every family who's not stable financially or, maybe mentally or physically either. But I think that I lend voice to that. It looks nice to sit in front of these spaces and, to have these interviews and share the point of arrival. But my story and where I come from a teenage mother. I was raised in a single family household. We did receive welfare. I had WIC. We struggled with things. And, I believe that to some extent there was someone like myself who's doing the work that I'm doing who helped to support my mother. And as a result, I'm able to do the things that I'm doing. So, for me, it's just very important to be able to extend back into my community by sitting on committees and boards and share voice with those who may be voiceless or having experience. Every person who's poor isn't dirty. Every person who doesn't have money is out gang banging and selling dope. We're not out. Families aren't out doing those things. And for me, I think it's very important for my white counterparts or even my Asian counterparts, for that matter, for those who are sitting on those committees who may not have took a stroll through a community like West Baltimore or been in those spaces to really understand, at least from my perspective, what they can do to help.
Absolutely. Let me remind people that your programs are very accessible. And the reason why it's very accessible, it's not stuffy. Everybody can learn this. And that
Yes.
is whatever you were explaining right now. It was actually the reason why your program is accessible because your background, where you come from, you understand social measure it right
Mhm.
now. Police brutality, a lack of opportunities in our community, and walking in the Baltimore area, every negative stuff that's been saying in that area. For you to go there and work with the youth,
Yes.
trying to bring some kind of hope in that area that we all know it's very needs a lot of help from everyone, including our government. So that I commend you for that. I'm not saying this because you're on the show.
Thank you.
Whoever take the courage to go in places where young people need us the most, that is a commendable spirit. So it shows that you're not doing this just for the money. You
Oh,
care about your people, and
yes.
we call on more people to do the same and join forces. As a matter of fact, I was running your email below this page here so that people can be able to contact you
Yes.
whenever
Hmm.
and work with you in any capacity, because you're very flexible as well.
Yes.
In the work that you're doing. Is anything when it comes to your career? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah.
Um, you're also a talent advisor. So it's like sometimes I'd be thinking, can we possibly even get everything in one show? Yeah, the extension of your knowledge and your work experience is so big. Usually I'm like, okay, can it's possible in this 45 minutes, can we really get Sherida to just give us everything? Tell us. So you're a talent advisor too. Tell us about that experience. And do you
Yes.
still do
Well,
that as well?
no, I'm not necessarily, no, not that at all. But one of the things that you mentioned before is like hope. And the work that I do helps to support those individuals create hope in their personal lives, in their professional situations. When you go into the boardroom and you begin to feel deflated, overwhelmed. I've seen it happen all too many times that I'm dealing with C-suite executive level leaders who become deflated by the amount of work, the isolation, not really necessarily having space to divulge some of what's going on in the space. So, not necessarily talent advisor, but coach, yes. Absolutely coaching. I've done my share of, getting one on one and really understanding the depth of the leader and understanding how I can embrace where that individual is and give them hope that it'll become better. The important thing that I want everyone listening to know is you don't how do I want it? It's important for us to remember that the way I got to this path, this road, was based on my deficit and where I come from. I had to have a lot of hope, a lot of creativity, a lot of understanding. I had to do a lot of talking to people and coming outside of my shell and learning about myself along the way in order to really be effective in supporting someone else. And I say that personally and professionally. When I began working as a leader myself, I found that, wow, I'm taking lunch, by myself if I wasn't with another leader, or, talking to my team, which sometimes when you're in charge, people don't always want to have certain conversations around you. So I found that, I was sometimes alone, or if something was happening with a budget, and there may not have been someone around to talk to, but this budget would impact my team, or other things. I didn't really have that space to divulge those things. And what I did was I ended up consulting a coach. I ended up contacting someone similar, doing the similar work that I do, and having some conversation about the challenges, my burdens, how to find myself unstuck. And it was a dynamic experience because that experience helped to free me and give me some hope for the future in my role, my capacity to get the work done. Not a talent advisor, but absolutely a coach in the support. And I say coach in a very literal sense. Teams have coaches, right? So I'm not a huge sports buff, but I'm a mom, and I've sat on the sideline of many relay races, many football games, t-ball games, and basketball games. And coaches sit on the sideline, and what they do is they encourage you. They give you strategies. They tell you, like, because ultimately you are the player, so you have the expertise. You know what it is to get the job done. What the coach does is takes the talent and merges your talent with strategies to help you get the goal, help you win ultimately. So I do a lot of coaching and supporting new business owners. I do a lot of coaching and supporting those with existing businesses, and just kind of clarifying thoughts and get them from point A to point B without finding themselves too overwhelmed or stressed.
Absolutely. Listen, being a coach and being a talent advisor
Yes.
before, I think it's just complement itself because
Yes,
you deal with talented people, but
absolutely.
talented enough is not going to help. You need
Hmm.
somebody that you can, that can come and advise you, how you can shine even more, how you can develop yourself, and by that you didn't just happen to be a coach or
Hmm.
working on developing people. You went
Yeah.
back to school. You went back to American University,
Oh, yes,
to get
absolutely.
some knowledge. So I want you to, for the young audience, young people that are looking at this program, and this is across continents from here, Europe or Africa. If
Absolutely.
there's any lesson you have to teach them, because you, both of us, we've got our education, our masters,
Yeah.
and all kind of stuff. The importance of of education. Please
Yes.
talk a little bit about more, so these young people understand that this is not just how things don't just happen like that. There's a lot of
Yes.
work. There is a lot of preparation, and education being one of the key to get to that level. Please
Yes.
go ahead and
So I'll share with young adults to continue to get your education. School is very important, becoming educated, but more importantly, continued education and education applied. I've worked on many boards with a lot of really smart people, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, who lead major organizations, large for-profit and nonprofit business. And one of the things that I've heard consistently is we can teach people how to do what we do. So after you've gotten your degree, your certificates, your diplomas, they can teach you. But remember to consistently find yourself in a space of refinement. Refining who you are is like if you began your life as a rock, you're a diamond, right? But we all started out as diamonds in disguise. Diamonds sometimes don't look like the shiny thing we see in the ring. There's some refinement that takes place in order to get it from looking like a simple pebble that we might see in the street to looking like that shiny rock that we see in the store window. There is refinement that happens when you're at work and you're under pressure and you're in school and you're learning. But there's also refinement that happens as an individual where you find yourself in spaces where you need to continuously grow. I would say first and foremost, get your education and continue to get your education, and then apply what you know. once the schoolhouse is closed and you've gotten that degree, education doesn't end. And it also doesn't happen by osmosis. I'd suggest reading. If I could turn my camera around, one of the first things I had in my home was not a television, it was a library. I lived in my apartment with my two sons, and the only thing we had in the house was books. Someone gifted us our first television, and I didn't buy a television until I think I moved. I want to say in 2007, and it's 2020. I bought my first television 2 years ago. The television that I had before was donated. Stay away from those things that get you distracted and understand the greater thing. The second thing I would say is travel. Become versed in leaving. I have a passport. My sons have passports. We get on planes and we see the world. The media, the newspapers, television will try to tell you everything about the world from your basement, your living room, from your bedroom. But the best way to learn is to experience it, to experience the foods, experience cultural norms and things that other people do around the globe. Because what we'll find is the media sometimes has it wrong. People get it wrong, and we aren't who the world says we are in each of these respective places. So get your education first, and also get your passport and travel around the world. And the next thing I'd say is build your network. We don't live in a tunnel or and we don't work in a vacuum, I'll say. And we can't always have tunnel vision. You need great people around you in order to grow and succeed. So having reliable sources, great friends and family who will support your development is also important. So just as Malik brought me on today to have me in and sharing, having him in my network is a support to me, and vice versa. If there's anything that he needs, he can call on me and say, hey, I need this thing. And because he offered his he offered his platform, to say the least, I would be willing to do the same. We have to keep that in mind, that once we go out into the world, we need other people to make the dream work, right? They say teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sharida. And having you in my network, having you by my side in the network that I'm continuing to build, I think is a very powerful thing. By the way, I want to shout out to all the young women, African American women that
Yes,
are kicking asses, if I can use the term on the show. It's
yes.
my show. I can use anything I want to. Uh, Yes, when it comes to education, and now as businesses, you can see it all across this country. As a matter of fact, statistics are clear now that African American women are beating everybody when it comes to earning degrees and all kind of stuff. I know that already. When I was back in school, back to Howard University, I knew, because every time I look around me, there were more women than men. So this is not a way to this on men. This is just a way to tell to our men, African American men, to say that, listen, we have some quality women out there
Yes,
doing great stuff. We need to get our stuff straight. Let get our education so we can match up to our beautiful intelligence and our entrepreneurs out there that they're just waiting for us to take the charge. And so
absolutely.
go ahead and get your education, just like my sister said. Get your education, join the club, and let make good stuff happen. Okay,
I,
so yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I want to share with you something that you said to me the other day, and I was completely empowered by it. Malik and I were talking, and the one thing you shared with me was go and do your work, because there is an entire continent behind you. And
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew how impactful that was to me, but to be a Black girl from Baltimore City, from a single mother, to know that there is a world of individuals out there who are looking to support me is very viable. It's important. And, I want to encourage every sister who has decided that she's going to launch out and take that leap of faith and start that business, to do it. I have 3 degrees. I have 2 master's degrees, and I did it as a single mother. I had 2 children. I was able to, without getting in the system, I was not on welfare. I worked endlessly. I did creative things like get on eBay and sell clothes and books to pay rent when I needed to. Do what you need to secure your future. When we look at workforce, we're looking at the next 10 years diminishing workforce to some end due to technology. Secure your future, or as my son says, secure your bag. You want to make sure that you find yourself in a space of stability for your family and for your future. So I want to applaud you, Malik, for just those words of encouragement. I left and I felt like I could be like Wakanda forever.
Forever, baby.
Uh, I felt so large after you shared that with me. And, like, I want to just encourage every other woman who's looking and trying to figure out how to find herself so that she can express and live out her God ordained gifts, just to go ahead and jump out on faith. You're going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to have your missteps. You may not get it right all the way through and through, but the best part about it is that you've begun. So that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Listen, well, we all inspire each other. It's
yes,
you inspire the woman or now the backbone in our community, and then you go ahead and educate those youngsters that you have. If you made it, usually if you make it or you made it, I think they will see that as something they can also do. So there's no
yeah,
the sky is the limit. And I was right when I told you, if you stayed in Baltimore and did what you've done, so that means that if you can make it in Baltimore, you can make it everywhere.
yes, I
And
agree.
then before you know it, you have an entire continent of Africa just
Hmm.
waiting for you, waiting for the knowledge.
Yes,
So just when I say the sky is the limit, it's really the sky is the limit. So take your knowledge, your expertise, and bring it back to the motherland. You will see the appreciation. You'll build a much bigger network that you could possibly imagine. You
yes,
know, as a
yes,
matter of fact, they call you the unstoppable.
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. Where's that come from? The unstoppable. When I
uh,
saw it, I'm like, you know what? This is the kind of people I want on my show. If she cannot be stopped, I want those young ladies to listen to her.
yes.
What make you get into that mentality, the mindset, unstoppable? Talk to me.
Well, first, I'm a child of the Most High God, and I will never deny my God. I love the Lord, and I feel like when you know who you are, then you know who you aren't, which is a quote by Bishop T.D. Jakes. I know who I am, and because I know who I am and who I belong to, there's nothing that can stop me. I was not born at the start of the race. I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I often share with people I was born in a world where my father wanted me aborted and didn't raise me. He completely rejected me. And those things can be very tough than living in an inner city, which you hear on the media all the time, growing up in Baltimore. And this Baltimore looks different from the one that I grew up in. However, just simply realizing the idea that I grew up in spaces where the odds were against me. When I read the white papers about youth like me, or like the young person I was, there are statistics that say I can't and I won't and you never will. And I wanted to change the trajectory, not only for myself, but for those who
Yeah,
are behind me. So it was very important for me to see that in my lens, in my trajectory from my life, and say that I'm not going to let anything stop me. Becoming a single mother made me a statistic,
mm,
and reading those things and becoming a single mother with someone who he was my boy's dad is a lovely individual, and he's been there for the children. So I don't
wonderful.
want to share that, but I just think that, rearing your children alone can be very tough.
Yeah.
And trying to do that while going to school, writing 100-page papers at night with toddlers. I had to take my children to school with me. Back in the day, taking them and toting a toddler and an infant and sitting in the back of the classroom with the children is something you see out of the movies. But
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to let anything, nothing stop me from getting what I want. So I desired to do it, and I did it. And I personally feel like a running locomotive. If I'm going to get something, I'm not going to let adversity, obstacles, and even myself get in the way. And I include myself in that for everyone listening. Sometimes we can allow our internal talk, the inner me, to discourage us from being great. And sometimes we have to tune down and turn down that negative talk inside and
Hmm.
remind ourselves that we are made from the imago Dei of God. And
Absolutely.
that is, and I say that respectfully, that it doesn't matter what God you believe in. I believe
Hmm.
in the Lord Jesus Christ. But if you believe in Allah, if you believe in Buddha, if you believe that you're made in the imago Dei, the image and likeness of God, I believe I'm made in the image and likeness of Christ.
Hmm.
I then have the full power and I have full access to what has been set aside for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, what do you pray Allah or Buddha, whatever, just let you know this is the show. You can come and express yourself. You
Yes.
know, we don't put people in a box in the boxes here. What we have to do is just to give you a platform where you can express yourself, and that's a part of you. You know, who you
Yes.
believe, the woman that you have become. It's okay, it's fine. And also the fact that you can use that experience to inspire more young lady, because
Yeah.
a lot of them need some inspiration
Mhm.
and good examples like not to think, okay, because now I've been separated with the father of my kids, then I'm done. It's hard. I know it's going to be a little bit harder. I have two kids, and my wife also went back to school. Went back to, I know she'll kill me to put our business out there. She went back to American University, and it's tough sometimes. And we both of us,
Yes.
with the juggling with the kids and all kind of stuff, it's not easy. Now, can you just imagine if you're by yourself, like you
Yes.
said? So it takes a lot of courage to
Yes.
make it happen, especially in this America. Takes a
Mhm.
lot of courage. The stress and you, if you keep your eyes on the prize, I think you finally will make it. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
so it's crazy. The time that was set up 45 minutes, but it goes so quickly. I know the viewers want to us to stay a little bit more. What I want to ask you right now is to give us, tell us a little bit about your organization. How can people get in contact with you and your focus point? What do you really deliver in terms of services?
Sure. So you can reach me at info@theignitersinstitute.com. I also have a Facebook group. Now, I want to say, just as a quick caveat, my Facebook group is Ignite 180. So I have a training program that I've developed entitled Ignite 180, and it is to cultivate 21st century kingdom builders. So if you're interested in, I just mentioned my belief, so I just want to express, if you're interested, you can go on and join the group. There's 3 simple questions that's asked as you decide to join the group. But otherwise, I work with everyone. And if you're interested in working with me, you can reach me at info@theignitersinstitute.com. And what I'll do is I'll also go to Malik's page and add my Calendly link so that you can reach me via Calendly and we can set up an appointment to have like a quick 30-minute powwow for what your needs are. I support and provide professional development and personal development. So again, for that, man or woman who's interested in advancing professionally or personally, I provide training and services. Most of the time, they're customized to your need. So I've gone into spaces where I provide customized services based on the specific needs of teams and organizations as well as individuals. So, yes.
Excellent. Listen, I wanna, as we're closing this conversation, none of us wanna go, and we want to stay here and talk a little bit more. But you get all the information you needed. The contact number is below this page. I want to thank some of my sponsors, people out there. The Vita Vegans, the lady is doing an
Thank you. Thank you.
awesome work.
Yes.
She's gonna be on the show pretty soon. To talk about product. Like, we've been eating bad food for a long time. She just so creative.
My kind of woman.
Um,
I need to
I
get.
don't, yeah, I don't want to spoil everything because I'm gonna
Yes.
let her come and speak for herself. We can wait to see her here. She sponsored the show. We want to talk to anybody else that want to sponsor the show, because in order for us to have our word out, to give
Yes.
you people this chance to just to shine and even more. You already
Yes.
been shining in Baltimore. We want you to take this to Europe, to Africa, to everywhere in the Caribbean, where we have some viewers, so that we can have also we don't depend on those quote unquote mainstream media to tell our stories. So please sponsor the show, and help us to keep bringing people like Sherida, an amazing woman who's doing great stuff. So that conclude our show for today. We personally, I'm asking you this: don't go away forever. We want to see you back here one of this day again to
Yes.
give us all some more. Whenever you have something going on,
Yes.
feel free to come back on the show and let viewers about what's going on. If there's something, a program they have to be on, just come back and let us know. So, any last words that you want to? I know you already say almost everything.
Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to say before uh, we go?
I just want to just remind everyone who's listening to remember who you are and who you were designed to be. We are light, and I want you to remember that as you engage other individuals in the world. I started the company Igniters Institute, and it's called Igniters because we are designed to spark something great in others around us. So I want to come and spark something great in you, and I want you to be able to take that and light up the world around you. So I just thank you, Malik, for having me on the show today. I thank you all for your comments and questions. This was a really great experience, and I hope to be back soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sharita, and I look
Thank you.
forward to speak with you again.
Okay.
Uh, Well, that concludes our show for today. Please, if you have anything you want to speak about, make sure that you contact us. Send us a message, inbox us, and we will schedule you for the show, so you can have a chance to expose or speak about whatever you do in your business and all that. So, again, thank you so much for staying for this 57 minutes with us. So we will speak with you another time.